What's going on, everyone? I'm Chase, and this is my continuing coverage of What If, the new Marvel animated show that hits Disney Plus every single Wednesday. Last week was episode 1, and we got to see Peggy Carter get injected with the serum, and she got to don the shield as Captain Carter, while Steve Rogers went on his own path. Very fun little episode. Just a lot of story jam-packed in 30 minutes. It was really fun to see. It was like its own little mini movie. So with episode 2, now we have TChalla instead of Peter Quill getting picked up by Yondu and becoming Star-Lord. So we get to kind of see that adventure happen in space. You know, his adventure in Wakanda is not the path we see in the movies. Now we get to see him kind of explore in the cosmic realm. So just like I did with episode 1, I will talk about my general thoughts on the episode, and then I will dive into more of the fun little surprises. Not really spoilers at this point; they're just fun little surprises at the very end of this. So, but I'll give you a fair warning. I'm not gonna just jump that on you guys like, "Hey, this actually happened," and then people just hate me on the internet. But no. So with this episode, I thought it was really interesting to see T'Challa take over space, kind of like how he takes over Wakanda. You know, he is royalty, he is king as Black Panther. Everyone knows him. He is powerful. He has the presence of a king. With this one, he is kind of just an average person, but people still know him. So in this multiverse, it really didn't matter if he was going to be king of Wakanda or be a thief in space. People know who he is. So it seems like no matter what, T'Challa's destiny was to always be a leader of the pack, be a influence, be someone that people know and can look up to and respect. And that's pretty cool. So it didn't matter what multiverse he was going to be plopped in, that was going to always be his path. Whether it be, like I said, a king of a a country, or just going throughout space and hanging out with Yondu. People know who he is. So I thought that was really cool. It also makes a huge difference when you can get the voice actors to come back. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. This is his last performance as T'Challa, and it was really sad. Just knowing, like, when the episode ended, you're like, "Oh, this is it," and you're just like, "That's I hate that. I hate this whole feeling." So, yes, his performance as T'Challa, always great, charismatic. And I think bringing that charisma into a Star-Lord, which is what Chris Pratt does with Peter Quill, it works. Like, because he has like this slideness to them. He has this quickness about him, but he still feels like a leader. Like you can kind of joke around with him, but you also want to listen to him and take orders from him. Like it's a really great kind of combination, and I think it works. And I think pitching T'Challa as Peter Quill is genius on that front. So, and you can definitely tell in the voice performances the energy coming out of Chadwick Boseman or Michael Rooker. Sean Gunn makes his appearance. Djimon Hounsou comes back. Like they all just seem to have a lot of fun with it. And like I said with episode 1, it makes a huge difference when you can get these actors to come back. Benicio del Toro did come back for this episode, and the Collector has humongous screen time in this episode. So, just like I said last week with Chris Evans, it's like you couldn't squeeze this in. Like, I get people are busy, but yeah, it was nice to see most of the people come back and just provide their voices to their characters. Animation, like I said in the first one, translates really well into this one, because with the first one, I mentioned it looked like Iron Giant, the rotoscope painting stuff that Richard Linklater does, like A Scanner Darkly, Eight Crazy Nights, and like anime. And it translates to this one as well. But what's really cool about this episode is it's in space, so there's a lot more to see in this animated form, and it looks stunning. And I absolutely loved every single location and set piece that they went to. Just like within the first Guardians, it's very imaginative. It's just this nice open world. It's atmospheric, and it really adds that type of level to the animated form as well. So yeah, I think the animation here is just absolutely stunning. And yeah, I don't know how you could get this animation to dip down in quality over the course of the episodes there in the season. So you're going to hear me say that for pretty much every single episode unless something really bad happens. But really cool to see not only the ground level in episode 1, but now Cosmic Realm in episode 2. Yes, fun little adventure for sure. It starts out, pretty predictable. Like he's just kind of taking the steps of Peter Quill, and then it kind of just goes off and does its own thing. And like before you get to the climax of the third act, you're super invested, and you're like, I want to see this in live action. Like this would be really cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one quite a bit, and like I said, I think having Chadwick Boseman come back and do T'Challa as the lead just really made a huge difference. So I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the fight between him and the Collector, because Collector is the bad guy in this episode. I don't think that's like a huge surprise or anything. Really cool to see, because the Collector has a bunch of stuff in his possession, right? So imagine if a lot of that stuff was freed and fighting along next to him. So yeah, fun episode. Really loved it. I think I might like this one more than the first one so far. So it's just, that's how I'm kind of gauging it so far. I like the first one quite a bit. This one is my favorite so far. And then next week we'll get to episode 3. Okay, fun little surprises. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right. Thanos makes a return, and Josh Brolin voices him. That's cool. Thank you, Mr. Brolin, for doing that. Benicio del Toro, where were you at? You were not that busy. He's going to come find this and be like, all right, I'm going to go hunt this guy down. Yes, so Thanos comes back, voiced by Josh Brolin, and interesting little thing is that in this universe, he's trying to take over everything. He wants to wipe away. He still has the same philosophies he's always had. He just hasn't completed them yet, and people don't take him serious. And I'm wondering if it's just because, in this multiverse, there's a lot more powerful players at play that are going against Thanos, to where Thanos feels a little hesitant to complete his goal. So that's why he never actually does it. It's just all talk, no game. So I thought that was interesting. He still wants to do it, but it's more like in a jokey way, and people take it as a joke. But I think in the back of his mind, he wants to still try to do it. But maybe it's because T'Challa is Star-Lord, and maybe just Thanos feels threatened to not complete, what he wants to do. So I thought that was really cool. Nebula also makes a appearance. I believe Karen Gillan comes back to voice. Really cool hair. She's got this long kind of blonde hair. Really interesting look for her. I liked it quite a bit. She provides a lot of context for the plot, and she's really just kind of like the linchpin in the whole entire plan. So she's kind of important for the episode, but a fun little kind of surprise from her. And then at the very end, it cuts to Earth, and Peter Quill is mopping. I don't know what that hand movement was. Don't capture that. Make it that GIF, please. Don't do that. So he is mopping at his fast food restaurant job, and Ego walks in, and I forgot what he says, but it's basically to the tune of we have a lot to talk about, or hello son, or just something like that. And so it kind of sets off a different path for Peter Quill on Earth, and it's at the Dairy Queen, which took place in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So I thought that was kind of cool. I'd be like, man, I want to see part 2 to this now. So yeah, so those were the only real surprises for this episode. Nothing really too intense, but a good little episode indeed. I hope everyone enjoys it, and I want to see more of Chadwick Boseman, but unfortunately, just rest in peace, sir. When you watch this, it just kind of crushes you, and it's just a lot. So, okay, so let me know down below what you thought of episode 2 of What If. Also, I forgot to mention this in episode 1, but Jeffrey Wright is the voice of the Watcher, and the Watcher is the one that's watching over everything. That even cuts to some scenes where like the Watcher's like behind a planet or like kind of looking off into the distance, and like he's the one observing all this stuff. So, he observed even the live action timeline that we've been seeing, and he's observing all the multiverses that are spreading out and stuff. So I forgot to mention in episode 1, I love his voice. He provides that narrator feel, like the Twilight Zone. Like I mentioned in the first episode, I was like, this feels like a Twilight Zone episode, because the Watcher is like Rod Serling in that sense. So forgot to make that connection, but I did it here. So, but yes, he continues to make his narration feel just powerful and have that presence, and I love his voice as the Watcher. So yes, let me know what you thought of episode 2 down below, and tune in next week for episode 3. I'm excited to talk about that one too. It's completely different than the first 2, but hey, keep them coming. Make these all different. Take us all on a little adventure. So that will do it for this coverage of What If episode 2. I'm Chase Lee, and tune in next week for episode 3. Goodbye, everybody.